2020 wrap up. We're back. I'm happy that we're finally into a new year, 2021. This is DJ Spin So Nice. I'm in the studio right now, as you can see, and I'm going to do a little video to talk about 12 records that inspired me this year. I'm chilling. It's New Year's season, and I'm not going to talk for too much longer, but I just want to set this up. For each record, I'm going to be brief. I'm going to talk about my song pick. I'm going to talk about why the record is important to my life, which means my well-being, my spirit, and also cultural relevance. Because with this music, with every record that I dig, there is a cultural connection. These records are like history books. Here's one for you. That's good old Weldon Irvine. This isn't one of the records on my list, but I'm just saying, you pick this up, you look at King Tutankhamun, right? You look at our Egyptian Kemetic heritage, and we can go as deep as you want to go. This record is for another day. Another thing, I'm going to be playing, I got my bongos here with me because I've been trying to put out a lot more content to build up my company, Spin So Nice and Spin So Nice Productions. And I put out a holiday mix, and it got copyright blocked by YouTube. Respect to YouTube, but I'm still pretty vexed about that. So I'm going to be playing some live music because they can't copyright the live music. Let's start the list. 12 records that moved me during the past year, 2020. Why 12? Is it 12 months of the year? Not really. It's just because there's 12 records in the IKEA shelf. I could have picked 20, I could have picked 10, I could have picked 100, but there's just 12 records in the IKEA shelf. It kind of looked cool. So we're going to split this into part 1 and part 2. So part 1, let's talk about it. First one is Rafi. Now, I'm a hip-hop head, and I DJ mostly rare groove and Afro house these days. But this Rafi record is on my list because I'm going to break it down into 3 categories, each record. Why is it important? A song selection and cultural connection. This record is important to me because my daughters and my wife bought this record, and they played it for me. I woke up Father's Day, this was playing. Now, we have a couple other Rafi records. I'll get into that later. If you want to watch our record of the week, you can find them. But this was what was planned for me during Father's Day. I woke up, I had a great Father's Day. That day was so nice. So that's why it's important to me. And my daughters were proud that they found Daddy a record, and I could go on and on. But it brought the family together. Family is the most important thing. Song selection. There's a lot of, you know, they got this record is good for kids, but it's not too cartoonish that the grown-ups can actually vibe to it. Especially if you like to go deep. For example, Rafi likes to get, he likes to talk about some biblical stuff on this album. He talks about Daniel from the Bible story. But my song choice here is, I'll say This Little Light of Mine. Trust me, that's a good one. You know, that's an oldie but a goodie. And the cultural connection, Rafi is still a legend. If you're a parent, Rafi's someone you can trust. There's a lot of stuff out there for the kids that's slimy, especially on YouTube. There's a lot of terrible stuff out there, but I trust Rafi. I appreciate all the work he's done over the decades. And this was one of the records that was very important to me this year. Number 2. This one here. This is Estero, Breath from Another. Let me get in the light properly. Estero, Breath from Another. I purchased this album in 2020. This is an original copy. There are no represses of this album. If you know, like I know, then you know this is some fire. Why is this record is important is because this is a trip-hop album from the 90s. I think it's from 1998. The trip-hop era. Estero, Portishead, Massive Attack, that kind of music set a different tone, and it's all very, very amazing. Now, this is a collaboration between the singer Estero and the producer Doc McKinley, and the two talents of these artists are still important and still dominating pop music today. For example, the style of Estero's singing It's kind of a breathy, kind of deep tone vocal style. And there have been, ever since this album came out, there have been a large number of vocalists that have bitten her style and are still successful off her style of singing. You know, right or wrong, it is what it is, but it started with Estero. There's an artist right now who's banging the charts. Her name is Dua Lipa. I like Dua Lipa's music because she sounds like Estero. So this is a classic album. The production, which is hip-hop, jazz samples, and jazz instrumentation, was done by Doc McKinney. And Doc McKinney is a genius producer who now works with The Weeknd. And The Weeknd's music is very, very special because of Abel's ideas, Abel's vocals, and because of Doc's production. And it started here. And this album is very, very important to me. And it's an original, vinyl-wise. This was one of the big albums of 2020 for me. Number 3, the Clark Sisters. You Brought the Sunshine. Number 4, the Clark Sisters. Conqueror. Let's start with You Brought the Sunshine. So I discovered this. I like gospel, but I like gospel from a crate digger perspective. You know, gospel funk with samples and anything from the 70s, you know. And also my Windsor connections, Windsor, Ontario, growing up around people from the AME church and Baptist churches. Long story short, I discovered this album after paying close attention to Blood Orange, and they did a cover. So that's how I learned about this album. And I checked it out on YouTube. This is, okay, why it's important. I don't know. It's so dope. That's why. And I had to order it, and I love it. And it gives me a lot of spiritual confidence. And it's from Detroit, Michigan. The Clark Sisters are from Detroit, Michigan. So that means anything Detroit is gonna be dope. You gotta check it out. And a lot of the you know, it's a lot of upbeat but very deep, soulful gospel music. And I'm not really gonna ramble too much. You should listen to it. Go on Tidal, listen to it. It's a classic. And the Clark Sisters are so famous, so legendary, that they're still dominating gospel music charts today. But I like to mess with the early 80s stuff. Cultural relevance, is it because it's from Detroit, Michigan? And any music from Detroit, Michigan, I check out as much as possible. Number 4. Oh, there's 2 things I'm going to say too, with number 3 and number 4. Number 4. So I shop at a record store in Scarborough called Henry's Records. Henry's legendary for everyone that it's in Toronto that knows. So I just happened to come across this one about a month ago in the middle of the lockdown. I just happened to be up in there. And I was looking through the soul section, and boom, I saw another Clark Sisters record. And so with this group, I'm trying to get as much of their vinyl as possible. And it's not too much out there. You know, they don't make represses. You just got to find it where you can find it. There's a Clark Sisters Christmas album that I learned about last year that Jason Palma has. I'm going to try and hit him up, see if he can do a trade or if I can buy it off him. But check it out. They also have these, I guess you could say, cultural references in their albums where they connect things that are happening in society with Christ and Christianity. So on the first one, they got this track called, oh yes, don't forget the song selection. They got the track called Overdose on the Holy Ghost. They say, you don't need no coke, you don't need no heroin, you got to overdose on the Holy Ghost. Not one of my favorite songs on the album. Song selection for me is You Brought the Sunshine, right off the top of the bat. That song is actually a disco kind of song, but it's a gospel one, and it was on the radio back in the early 80s. The song that they do with the cultural, you know, current events kind of vibe on this one here is called Computers Rule the World, but God is Still in Control, featuring Melly Mel. So the track is kind of like, you don't need to play no video games, you need to stay focused on the Lord. The song selection though that I would suggest you check out is called More Than a Conqueror. That one has a really dope 80s bass line, funk groove through it. It's in some of my mixes. And yeah, man, I even had the Clark Sisters, this album. There was a photo of me when I received this album on my 40th birthday cake. that happened in March before the COVID hit. So on my birthday cake for the 40th birthday, me and the Clark sisters like this are on the actual birthday cake. It goes deep. It goes deep. I'm not trying to talk for too long. Check it out. Augustus Pueblo presents Itel Dub. It's a dub album by one of the godfathers of dub, Augustus Pueblo. Pardon me. And this is, you know, every year my family gets, we're like, we're gonna chill on the vinyl, not buy too many, but we always get about 2 or 3, 4 or 5 dub albums. Dub is just so nice. We just keep appreciating it more and more. What can I say about this one? I think, you know, my song choice, I would say, is any of these. The reason that it's dope in terms of why is this important is because we listen to dub music as a family and it's really good background music. But this one is good because Augustus Pueblo has the melodica and has like dubby flutes flowing through every song. And my daughter actually plays a melodica. She plays it. She plays piano, but we have a melodica in the house that she plays. And so that's pretty much it, man. The cultural relevance is just that we love dub music so much, and it's always fun to play. It works in any scenario. You can't really see the album cover through the light. There you go. That's a good one. I'm going to keep my angle right here. Augustus Pueblo presents Itel Dub. Get this dub record if you get a chance. This is number 5. Number 6. Number 6, another dub record. This is Prince Jammy's Destroys the Invaders, another dub record. Why is this important? It's important for me culturally because I live in Scarborough and Toronto, and there are a good number of record stores in Scarborough, but they're off the beaten path, but they really, you know, the proprietors of these stores are usually Jamaican gentlemen who have roots in Jamaica, roots in the scene. They know a lot of the artists. And this, I purchased this album from a record store called Class 1 Records at Morningside in Lawrence, just up the street from me. And this is kind of a cool, and so it's a cultural thing. I support the culture of Scarborough with the connection in Toronto to Jamaica, with the guys trying to keep the dub culture alive, and I'm with it. And we play dub music at the house all the time. This is a cool one. So that's why this dub record's important, and because also it's got a Space Invaders theme, meaning like there's a bunch of cool laser science fiction effects in this record. Every dub record is special for one reason or another. This one is cool because of all the different effects and the vibe, which is kind of a sci-fi meets dub, early 80s reggae sound. Song selection, any song. Any song. Let the thing run through. Put the needle in the front. Let it run all the way to the end. You will be happy. Hopefully you can find this on YouTube, Spotify, whatever. You should listen to it. And that's the end of part 1.